What's up everyone, this is your boy MJ Joe. I'm back with another tutorial. If you are new to this YouTube channel, just like, subscribe and then hit that notification bell so that whenever we upload new content you can be updated as soon as we upload it. Okay guys, so we are continuing with the JavaScript Crash Course. In this topic, in this Crash Course, I'm gonna cover the DOM manipulation part in terms of how to use variables, functions, DOM manipulation. So that's all the topic that I'll cover for this tutorial. And then we are working with a simple JavaScript login system. As you can see, I've got a sign up and then a login. So this is a sign up form. I will give out my username, age, and then what I like to do, and then I will submit it. And then there's a sign in form whereby it takes a username and the age, and then a submit button. And then in general you won't have these two forms like this, so that's why I'm gonna go to the code. So here I've got index.html. I've built just a simple HTML site, the login system. So as you can see, there's a sign up form, there's a sign in and the sign up form. So yeah, and then just to solve this issue right here, because in general you won't have the both of these forms showing up, like users will be confused in terms of should I sign in or sign up. So all you have to do is to just add the display and then set it to none. So if you go to the browser, as you can see now, it's showing the sign up form. So this is the default view that we want our users to have access to. And then if you click on the login, we're going to create that with the JavaScript part. So guys, so let's just get started. If you haven't seen basic um, our basic JavaScript crash course, the beginner teaching you how to work with variables, so just go to you can check out it on the channel. So you can just click on there and go to videos or playlist, you'll get it there. So yeah, I've created a buttons JS to handle the functionality of those two buttons. So before I told you in terms of how to work with functions, so I'm going to create a function called um, login. So that displays our form. So here I would just say var, and then I would reference the element that I want to interact with. So if I can go to that button, so as you can see, it's the login. Because if I go to the browser and then click on the login, nothing happens, and then also on the sign up, nothing happens. So I need to start there before going to the actual form. So to do that, I need to reference the login button. So you can see it has a class of button and then item, and then I can just say give it a btn of what sign up, give it a btn of sign up, and then this one give it a btn of login, right? So let's just click the login one instead. So I'm just gonna say login btn is equals document. So we are referencing it from the document. So it's document. You can use query selector, right? You can use the query selector, and then here it takes an argument, right, which is a string, right? If you are working if you want to reference the element, you can use a class, an ID, or the name of the input or the name of the element, right? Okay, so for us it's dot btn and then minus and then it's what's login, right? And then I'm just gonna say login btn dot style. So now we are styling, right? Dot style, and then it's dot display, and then okay, sorry about that, dot style, and then now it's what dot display, and then after you say dot display, you must pass in an equals to, and then this takes the key value pair that it's supposed to have. So I'm just gonna say block just to show that, and then here on the paragraph I'm gonna have what an on click event. So these are event listeners, right? So whenever it's clicked, we're gonna call the login function, right? We're gonna call that and then it will display our form. So if I can just refresh and then I click on the login, okay, so it's not showing. Okay, so another way to do that, not sure why it's not showing. So let's just get rid of the variable there and then we get rid of that, right? And then so okay, it is indented, but what I wanted to show you is that you can work it like this on the same line, like that. Okay guys, so I think the issue here is that we didn't link our JavaScript file. So I like to link it outside of the body, so I'm just gonna say script and then passing the source, right? And then the source will be slash and then patches.js. And then if we go to the browser and then just refresh again, right? And then click on the login. Okay, so, okay, no, the issue is that I'm styling the button. I'm styling the button. So I'm gonna show you like what I wanted to do here after this, right? And then I wanted to do like I'm just gonna comment that out, and then I'm just gonna say document dot query selector, and then I'm gonna select the form that I want to display, right? Because here I made a mistake, which is the sign-in, right? This is the sign-in form. This is a sign-in because it takes in an input of text and then the input of number only and then a button. So just gonna paste that, and then because this is a class, I need to use the dot sign, and then just gonna say style and then dot display, and then I'm just gonna say block. So it's the exact same thing. So if I can just refresh and click on the sign up, it's the login and then query selector style to display. Let me just copy that again. Copy and paste that. Sign in, because sometimes the class does not there's a spelling error. So as you can see, it shows, right? And then we need to, if this shows, we need to remove this one, right? And then we are in short of one line, right? We're gonna again say document.query selector, and then we're gonna have a dot. I think it's sign up. Let me just confirm if it's the sign up. So as you can see, it's sign up. So we're gonna do the same thing, and then now what you want to style, and then dot display, and then what you want to change is that we want to display none for that a div right here, the form. And then as you can see, the default is the sign up, and then if you click on login, so as you can see, you are seeing the sign in form. And then now if I click on the sign up, nothing happens, right? Nothing is changing. So now we need to add a gain functionality for that other one, right? So I'm just gonna copy that and then call this sign up, right? And then here I'm just gonna say instead of displaying block, I'm just gonna say 9 to hide it from the user, and then I'm just gonna say block, right? So it's vice versa, guys. And then what you need to add is to add on those two patterns, right? The on click event listener, the on click attribute, because we are working with the HTML side. So we're gonna just say sign up, and then that is there. And then if you go to the browser and then click on sign up, nothing happens because it's the actual form that you want to display. And then if you can click on the login, that has to be hidden from the user. And then if you click on the sign up, okay, so there's something wrong. None, as block. Okay, let me just, okay, so it's my spelling right here. So it's this kind of mistakes happens, guys. And then let's just click on the login. I just clicked on it, and then it shows the sign up form. And then if I can click on the sign up, it shows the sign up form. So as you can see now, it's responding to what you want. So if I want to log in, it shows that, and then if I want to log out, it shows that. And then now I want to show you the other way in terms of how we work with that. So I'm just gonna comment all of this out, right? And then now what I want to do is to have this, but instead of styling, I won't style this. I won't style it. I'm just gonna remove this code right here, and then what I want to do, so I need to remove these on clicks so that this can work, right? So that it can work. And then now I've got a btn login button, right? And then what I want to do, I have to say add event listener. So we're like listening to what the user does on this element. They say the user is clicking, or the user is their mouse is on top of that element. So maybe you want to give an alert message or something like that. But for us, we're gonna make what we call the click. So you want to add the click, and then it accepts two arguments or two parameters, right? It takes the type of event that we want to listen. For us, we want to listen to the click event, and then it takes what a callback function. So we can make it maybe like this. We want it to call right the function login, right? So that's when we're gonna call this. Okay, so let me just remove that, and then also remove this one. So what we want to do, so let me just show you, let me just comment out this code right here so that you can see in terms of what I'm talking about. If I'm saying I'll call this the callback functions. So if I go to the browser and then refresh, nothing happens, right? If I click on the sign up and then the login, nothing happens, because we used what the attribute, the one click attribute on the right. So now I reference this button manually by myself, and then I'm calling this function, right? I'm listening to an event listener, such as maybe if the user is over this mouse or the user is clicking, right? And then what we want to do, let me just comment that. What we want to do is to call that function the sign in, right? Because it accepts callback function. So I'm just gonna say login, the login function. So if we go to the browser and then try that out, and then if you can click on the login, as you can see, it's displaying, right? So it's calling that function whenever the user clicks on that element. So this is the other way to work with it. But if you can just see right here, we don't call this the object right here. We are not invoking our function, because if I can just, as you can see, it auto calls itself. So as you can see, when you are working with event listeners, you just call the name of the function, and then whenever the user will click on that, it's gonna be automatically called. So if you go to the browser, and then this is working fine, we've got to sign up, and then if I click on the login, it's right there, right? And then I will do the same thing with another button, with the second one, right? So I'll just copy that. And then paste that, right? And then instead of calling the login, we're gonna call the sign up function. And then this is the btn, I think it's sign up, right? It's sign up. So if you go to the browser, this should work fine. Sign up and then log in and then sign up. So you can see it's working fine with just a few lines of code. We have done that. So that is the power of JavaScript in terms of we can interact with the user if you want to, right? And then if you go to the browser, now the thing that we need to work on is actually collecting this user data. And then when the user clicks on submit, we must take this data and then maybe store it somewhere. Because we don't have a database for now, we're gonna use our so-called local storage, right? And then when we work with that, okay, I want to have a different file, so you can have the same file, but I don't want to confuse you, so that you cannot be confused. So I'm just gonna make forms.js to handle all our form activity from the user, right? So that you don't become like too confused. Open to the side and then close this, and then we're gonna link again our script tag, our script, and then the source, it's just slash and then forms.js, right? And then now what you would want to do is to say for the form, we're gonna start with a sign up form because that is what gets to be started. Okay, so we're gonna have a function, right? Function just says collect sign up data. This function is gonna deal with collecting our data from the what you call the user, and I'm just gonna say alert, and then collecting data. So now what we want to have first is to add event listener for our button right here. So it's called btn. So as you can see, it's just called btn. So we're gonna just say document dot query selector. I love to use query selector, and then I'm gonna give it the dot to indicate that I'm specifying on the class. If it was an idea, I'm just gonna use the hash symbol, but I'm gonna use the dot and then dot btn. And then after I've referenced that, and then now I'm just gonna say dot add event listener. I'm adding an event listener, and I'm just gonna call it what a click whenever a user clicks, and then I'm gonna call the collect sign up data, right? So if I can have that, and then we go to the browser and then just refresh, and then if a user comes back, just enters data here. Okay, so it needs the number and then that, and then I click on submit. This should collect data, right? So our event listener is working fine. We just refresh. So what we want to do is to get values for each of these inputs, right? So we need to reference those all the input. So I'm just gonna store them in a variable so that our code does not come too long. So I'm just gonna say var, and then user name is equals to what? I'm gonna store it to document dot query selector, and then pass that. I think it's called username. The input, the first one, it has a class of username, right? Username, and then if I can just paste that there and then say dot value. So you're getting the value from the input. So whenever you work with the input, you have a property that is called a value. So that's where you can get the value. And then if I can just say, instead of alert, we are collecting data, I'm just gonna say alert hey, and then I'm just gonna, okay, sorry about that. I'm just gonna create our user, and I'm just gonna say username, right? I'm gonna just create myself, and then okay, so it refresh. So I'm just gonna use Jack, and then click on submit. As you can see, it says hello Jack. So let me just remove that. So we need to make that for all our what you call the three input, because we are collecting age, and then we need to call that age, right? We need to call that age, and then there is a class here which is age, right? So to reference that, we need to just say dot age, and then come back again, and then we're gonna paste that, right? And then I think this time it's interest. It's interest. Let me just confirm. Okay. So I'm just gonna copy that and then paste that, and then just gonna do like that. Right. So we have got all our values. Just to show you that, I'm just gonna say console.log. I'm gonna use the control. I'm gonna control the username, the age, and the interest. Right. Right. And then if you go to the browser, and then just type Jack, and then the age 22, and then maybe soccer. And if I can inspect that, right, and then go to the console, right, and go to the console, and then as you can see it's Jack 22 and then soccer. And then now what we want to do is to store it in our local storage. So if you can inspect that and then go to what you call application, the applications tab, right. So I think this is all. Yes, as you can see, the local storage, and then this it's actually empty. So as you can see, it's actually empty, which means we haven't stored the data, right? So now to store the data, we're gonna just say local storage dot set item. We want to set an item. So this function accepts two parameters, right? The first one is the key, and then the second one is the value. So this must be all like strings, right? So the first key is what we're gonna use to identify our, if you know object, it's like working with object, right? So it stores that in an object way. So I'm just gonna say we want to store a username, right? We want to store a username, right? And then the second one, it must be the username, which is the value from what? From the user, right? And then we're gonna close that. And then we're gonna say again local storage dot set. We're gonna set item, right? And then again this time it's gonna be age. So it can be anything that you want, right? And then local storage again. So local storage is gonna convert our number into a string. So it does that for us, right? And then I'm gonna just say int, and then I'm just gonna right, and then that's how we would usually do it. And then if you go to the browser, and then write Jack, and then write 22, and then soccer, and then if we click on submit, and then if we inspect that, if we go to the not the console, the application, and then as you can see we've got these values right here. So I want to, yes. And then if you go that, as you can see, we've got the key and the value, which is age, it's 22, and then username is Jack, and then the int, it's soccer, right? And then we close that. And then now what we like to do is to actually clear this, and then maybe write a message to say maybe the user must log in, right? And then let's first clear out our values. So I'm just gonna copy that, right? And then to clear that, I'm just gonna set the value toward to an empty code. So that's how we usually do it. But there is other ways, such as the form to remove all the values. But I'm fine with this one. So yeah. So I'm just gonna paste that. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna paste that, and then is equals to what? Empty. So now it's like I'm re-declaring the value on the input. So if you go to the browser and then type Jack, and then the age will be 22, and then it's soccer, right? And then click on submit. As you can see, it's empty, but on our local storage it has been there. So that is how we would work with a registration form. And then what we want to have is an error message, right? An error message. Maybe let's say if the user already exists, we won't gonna store it, and then if they don't exist, we wanna store it. So this is now becoming like complicated, but it's fine because that's what you do with JavaScript. You handle different outcomes and then for the user, and then like that's how you work. And then on the sign up form, right? The sign up form, I want to have a span right here and then call it error so that I can just store all my error messages. I'm just gonna say style and then set the color to red. Okay, so maybe I won't do that, right? And maybe right, and go back to the browser, and then if you can just see it says congrats to edit, and then maybe I want to style that, right? I want to style it and then just say style and then text align. I want to align it to center. And then just gonna add another line break. So it's not going to the center, it's fine. But if I wanted to place it at the center, I'm just gonna say get error container, right? And then just copy that and then paste it there. And then the stylings, I'm just gonna remove them from here, and then I'm gonna place it at the container, right? I'm just gonna place it there, and then if I can check on the browser, and then it says convert to edit, right? So now we want them to dynamically change if the user was successfully registered or if the user is already in our local storage, right? So what you're gonna do first is to say var data, which is the data that we're gonna go get from our local storage, right? It's gonna say something like this: data that's equals to local storage, and then local storage dot get item. You want to get an item, so you remember the key that I told you about. So the get item and the set item, what's different is that the set item, it takes a key and the value of that key. But on the get item, we are referencing that value with that key that we gave before. So it was a string which was the username. Name. So I'm just gonna say user data, which is the username from our local storage, and then I'm just gonna say var user age, right? So I want to get the age again because that's what we're gonna use to log in our users. I know maybe you store some sort of like a password or something like that. So yeah, local storage dot get item. I'm getting the item, and then I want it to be the age, right? And then after I've gotten those, I'm gonna use the if statement. So that is where the if statement comes in. So the if statement has the brackets here. So that's where your condition must be at. So let's just say if user data and okay, so let me just not use that end. The end user age. So if they are there, if they exist, and if it's not null, if it's null, it's gonna go to what? To our else. To our else, right? If the user data and the age are there, we're gonna just say on the error message, right? We're gonna just say document.query selector, and then I'm gonna reference the error message. It's error container error, and then I'm just gonna say sign up so that I can differentiate between those two, because we're gonna have another one for the login form. So I'm just gonna say dot inner. So I'm writing something to the inner HTML, and then it's gonna say user already already exists, right? Click on the login. Right, it's gonna say that to us, and then we won't store the database to our local storage again. And then now the trick is that we're gonna get that, and then we're gonna remove this because now we have conditions, right? We have conditions, and then you want to say if they don't exist, we're just gonna store it and then have the error message again, so that the user can be like, you have a clue in terms of what's going on, right? It's gonna say it's gonna output this error, congrats, you were added, right? So I'm removing that and then I'm adding that here, right? So if the user is added, there's gonna be a message again, so that the user can know. Right, and then to clear our messages, I'm just gonna remove it and then store it at the back. So this is how you would actually work with that. The user data. Okay, so the user data and the user age, right? And then let's go to the browser and then see, because we've already got Jack. We already have Jack in our application, so as you can see, the username is Jack, right? So I'm just gonna type again Jack. Is it lowercase? No, it's uppercase. It's Jack, and then the age must be 22, like before. And then I'm just gonna write soccer game, and then it's going to submit. And as you can see, it says user already exists. Click login, right? And then now we want to add somebody, like maybe Snake, and then the age, she's 21, and then she also likes soccer. There is no, then I click on the submit, and then okay. So now that's when we need to improve our conditions. So it says user already exists. So now we need to have what you call an age, and then a user, and then and a soccer for each one of these users. So before we go there, let's just change the color of this. If it's an error such as the user already exists, and then let's just do that. And then I'm just gonna copy that, which means the user exists, right? And then I'm just gonna say dot style dot color. Sorry about that. These things also change themselves. And then I'm just gonna say it equals to, and then I want it to be red. And then for the other one, I want it to be green, because green shows good sign, even the robot display green, right? I'm just gonna write Jack again, Jack, and then 22, and then soccer, and submit. As you can see, it's a red, so user already exists. And then if I clear our local storage, and then I'm just gonna type again Jack, and then 22, and then maybe soccer game. I don't know, I changed that. And as you can see, it says congrats, you were added, you can now log in, right? So that's the functionality of our sign up form, right? So this is what you would want to do, but you want to check on the database, right? And then I'm just going to show you in terms of how to advance this when you are working with arrays and then object. So you're going to come back to this one. We're going to come back to it. And then now you want to maybe log in, right? You want to log in, right? And then I'm going to have a functionality now for a login form. So these are comments, right? And then I'm gonna have a function. Okay, guys, as I was saying, I got disturbed by a phone call. It was important. So I'm gonna have a function called login user, so that I can log in the user, right? And then what I would want to have again is that I would want to have to have all those input on our form, right? As you can see, these are exactly the same as those ones. So what we want to do is to actually make this unique. So I'm just gonna say sign in, so that things don't end up like referencing the wrong one. Because if it's display none, the element is there but it's not visible or hidden. It's there. So that's why you would want to make that to be unique, right? And then I'm just gonna copy this to and then come back again here and then just paste that, and then I'm just gonna make the dash and then log in, and then again here I'm just gonna say log in. Alright, and then what I would want to have is again have a button document. Okay, so let me just copy because time is not on my side. Let me just copy. Then I'm gonna paste that, and then I'm gonna change that because now it's btn, and then again here it's btn. So just like I said before, we need to add the sign in, right? And then sign in, right? And then now we need to change that and then call our what you call login user, right? And then we have the elements right here, and then now we're gonna get the values from the local storage, right? And then I'm gonna copy that, right? I'm gonna copy that, and then I'm gonna paste that there, and then this time we're gonna say if, and then we're gonna just say if user data is equals to what? Our username, right? If it's equals to our username and the user age is equals to what age. And then now if things are fine, right, what we want to have is to actually have an error message again, right? We're gonna have, so I'm just gonna copy that this ID right here, and then just gonna copy this div, and then I'm just gonna paste it here. And then I'm just gonna type something randomly, and then click on the login, is it JK, and then I'm just gonna say sign in. It's sign in, right? So now what we'd like to have is have an error message, and then say maybe you successfully logged in or something like that. So I'm just gonna say document. Okay, so it's document the query selector, and then I want to reference this. Okay, control Z, and then I want to have that, and then paste that, and then we're gonna have what you call dot inner HTML. It's equals to we're gonna make that to be yay, right? So maybe I can have, maybe I know you like, which is the interest of the user, right? And then I'm gonna have space, and I'm gonna have plus, I'm gonna have an interest, right? And then I need to get the interest of the user, and then var interest is equals to local storage dot get item. And then remember, we said it's int, right? And then we're gonna get that, and then after we grab that, we're gonna say I know you like, and then interest. And then I want to clear out the fields. The fields, I want to clear out the fields, which is the age, and then the username after they've submitted everything, right? And I want to have that the value. I'm just gonna remove this and then remove this again. And then remove that. Okay, value is equals to nothing, just an empty code, right? And then on the else, I want to just give out an error message, right? I want to give out an error message saying no such user, right? I just want to say no such user. And then I'm just gonna say the name, and I'm just gonna say username. Okay, so it's user data, which is the name, and then plus, and then codes, and then I'm just gonna say sorry, and then you don't exist. And then I'm just gonna advise the user to sign up, right? And then I want to make this to be read, right? I want to style that to be read because it's an error, right? And then I'm just gonna paste it, and then dot style. So dot style dot color, and then is equals to what? Red, right? And I'm just gonna copy that, and then here it must be green, right? It must be green because it's success. It must be green, and then we are looking in the user. And then if you go to the browser, hopefully all things are fine, but you don't have to get your hopes high because sometimes the code does its own thing. You know, like we have any mistake somewhere, somehow, and then now we would have to go back and then fix it. So, and then go to the browser and then click on the login, and I'm just gonna say check. And then age, I think I said 22. As you can see, like it's not working accordingly, right? It's not even giving us the error message. It's not responding to us. So this is what I say when I say don't get your hopes high. And then log in user, and then log in user, and then I want to make an alert that just to confirm that I've logged in the user, and then I'm just gonna say hey whenever I click on the submit button. Log in. Okay, so it says hey. So now the problem, I think it's with our what you call, I'm just gonna console.log the user data, and then go back to the browser, right? And then refresh, and then click on the login, and then we've got jack, right, and then the age is 22, and then click on submit. It's not even clearing, so maybe it might happen that it's breaking somewhere somehow, so we need to consult the console. And then cannot read properties of null. Okay, so it's on the form.js at 3261 at HTML button element login user. Login user 32 61 line 32 username login. Okay, so it's because I said log in and it's sign in, so we're just gonna convert that to log in, right? And then just gonna convert that to log in. So you must be able to identify where your code is breaking or not passing, right? Sorry Jack, you exist in our system. Click on the sign up. You exist in our system. Click on the sign up. Click on the sign up. It says Jack exists in our system. You exist in our system. Okay, so if I exist, right? Okay, so I know why. It's because of this. Let me just log in. Because our Jack is uppercase, right? And then it's 22, and then yay, you logged in. I know you like soccer. So that's the disadvantage of working with that. And then if you go to the application, and then as you can see, check, it's like that. And then we have only one if statement that checks if the username that we are bringing to our form is equals to the username from the data. And then this is gonna fail automatically, right? Because it's a lowercase, right? And then it's gonna come back here, and then it's gonna say, yay, sorry, and then you don't. So it recognizes that like the user does not exist because it's smaller case, right? If you can go and then just say check, right, and then 22, and then click on submit. Sorry, Jack, you don't exist in our system. Click on the sign up button, which is here. And then if I just say Jack, and then say the age is 22, and then click on submit, you're gonna say, hey, you logged in. I know you like soccer. So that is the disadvantage of that. But maybe we could have done something, maybe like before storing our name, we converted to lowercase or uppercase, so that when we get data from our form, we also convert it to lowercase or uppercase, so that things can be like, because there are silly mistakes usually the people do. So that is how you would work with that. And then just to show you the advanced way of working with local storage, such as having multiple users in our database. So it's gonna take around 30 minutes more. But if you are fine, you can just close that, because I think we're done. I'm just adding some extra functionality. So I want to see where we are storing the database. Okay, so I think what we need to have is var empty array, right? And then okay guys, no, I'm just gonna do a separate video on that one, because it's a lot of time, and then I'll have to do more changes here and then on here. So here guys, as you can see, our login system is working well, and then all you have to do just to improve that. And then here, see you on the next tutorial on the I think that will be the final crash course of HTML and of JavaScript. Sorry about that, of JavaScript. So here guys, I'm gonna see you on the next tutorial.